Hi everyone, I am Ileana Leca and I love Mondays. Can you guess why? It's because we meet here every Monday for an English lesson. Simply English is the title of our course. And I'm going to welcome my guests, Sandra and Rebecca. Hi.
Hi.
Last week, if you remember, we practiced questions because I said this is a very important skill for us to have. Whenever we need to find out information, we're bound to ask questions. We introduced the two types of questions, yes or no questions, which we form by using first of all the auxiliary or the modal verb, followed by the subject and the verb. And we use WH questions whenever we want to ask for missing information, in which case we'll start with a question word, then we use the auxiliary or the modal verb, subject and verb. There was this special notice I wanted you to pay attention to. If the question word is the subject of the question, then the word order stays the same as in a statement, so we no longer use the auxiliary. We're going to continue today's lesson with the topic we have started last week, and that is hobbies. I'd like us to start by guessing first of all. Here are the names of famous people: Leonardo da Vinci, Albert Einstein, and Serena Williams. And just a wild guess. Can you guess what these people used to enjoy as a hobby or enjoy as a hobby? Just a wild guess. Sandra, what would you say for each of these people?
Well, I know that Leonardo da Vinci didn't only paint, he studied anatomy, and I think it was his hobby. I don't know.
Okay, now we all know Einstein was very passionate about maths, physics. Can you guess what his hobby might have been? Rebecca, a wild guess?
I don't know, maybe going out for a walk and enjoying the nature, but I'm not sure.
I would have guessed it's something more creative, like writing poetry. Perhaps, why not? As for Serena Williams, how do you think she distresses?
I think it's also something creative.
Like painting, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, why not? All right, we're about to listen and find out. So as you listen, please make a note of the hobbies mentioned for each of these three famous people.
Leonardo da Vinci, the brilliant artist and inventor, had a range of hobbies that reflected his curious mind. Besides painting masterpieces like the Mona Lisa, he was also fascinated by anatomy and nature. He would spend hours dissecting animals and studying their intricate structures. Da Vinci was also an avid writer, filling notebooks with his observations, sketches, and ideas. His hobbies helped him understand the world in a unique way and contributed to his remarkable legacy. Did you know that the renowned physicist Albert Einstein had a hobby that wasn't related to science at all? Einstein loved playing the violin. He found solace in the beautiful melodies he could create. Einstein believed that music helped him think and unwind. Even though he changed the world with his scientific discoveries, his hobby of playing the violin showcased his artistic side. Serena Williams, the legendary tennis player, has the surprising hobby outside the courts: sewing. When she's not hitting tennis balls, she's often found creating beautiful dresses and outfits with her sewing machine. Sewing is her way of taking a break from the competitive world of sports and tapping into her creative side. Williams' dedication to both tennis and sewing shows that even famous athletes have passions beyond their main pursuits.
Wasn't that interesting? All right. So Sandra, you were quite right about Leonardo da Vinci. He did enjoy anatomy. So his hobby was?
Observing nature, dissecting animals.
And there's something surprising about him as well. Do you remember what the speaker said?
He was an avid writer.
He was also an avid writer. What does the word avid mean?
Passionate.
Very passionate. Okay, so he wrote a lot. Rebecca, how about Einstein? What did he do in his spare time?
He enjoyed playing the violin. Quite surprising.
Yeah, it is surprising. So playing the violin. Excellent. As for Serena Williams, we anticipated something creative, but not really what her hobby is.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising.
So what does she do?
She enjoys sewing.
Right, which means that she does some sort of designs of her own clothes. She sews them herself, okay? And I think this is something that engages people in a way in which their mind is taken off things and they can actually relax. Now let's move on. And I'd like us to practice a bit more vocabulary related to hobbies. And we're going to use the words do, play, and collect to complete these phrases. There's a slash because the same verb can be used with all 3 or maybe 4 choices. Rebecca, will you please give it a try for the first one? Which of the 3 verbs can we use with coins, stamps, art, and souvenirs?
I would say collect.
Collect, of course. We can collect coins, especially if they are valuable. Stamps, it might be a bit old-fashioned, but this is what I used to do when I was a child. Collecting art or collecting souvenirs. Good. Sandra, what can we use with exercise, crosswords, and the project?
Do.
Do, the verb to do. Which means play can be used with cards, play cards, play games, or play an instrument. And we're still working with these 3 verbs. We have, first of all, some definitions which we're going to complete choosing the correct verb. Rebecca, will you read the definition and tell me which of the 2 verbs fits here?
Participate in a physical activity with set roles and objectives. Play a sport.
Good. Sandra?
Conduct investigations and gather information on a particular topic. Do research.
Do research. Good. Rebecca?
Engage in card games like poker, blackjack, or solitaire. Play cards.
Right. We've met this before in the previous exercise. Sandra?
Gather and display items from past eras. Collect antiques.
Good. Rebecca?
Engage in interactive digital entertainment on a console or computer. Play a video game.
Right. And there's one more. Sandra?
Gather keepsakes or mementos from different places. That's collect souvenirs.
Good. Okay. Now this is what we call a collocation. Play a sport. Do research. Play cards. These words just go together. They collocate. They are always used this way. Take pictures, for instance. Okay? Now here's an exercise in which I'd like us to consider the given words. Find one which doesn't fit there. You'll tell me which one doesn't fit. I'll cross it out. With the remaining words, we'll decide what hobby they are all related to. Rebecca, would you like to give it a try for the first one?
Sure, I would say that the odd one is dice.
This is what I'm going to cross out. Brush, watercolor, and oil paints are all words related to
Painting.
painting. Good. Sandra.
The odd one out is chess because it has nothing to do with playing cards.
Very good. So chess is a sport, whereas hearts, spades, clubs are all related to playing cards. Rebecca?
The odd one is film, as the other words are related to cooking.
Cooking. Good. Sandra?
dominoes. They're not a sport or an activity. So
Right. So swimming, mountain climbing, jogging are all sports, physical activities we can do in our spare time, but dominoes is something different. It's another game. And the last one?
The other one is cards, as the other words are related to photography.
Excellent. You need a camera if you want to take photos. The camera has a lens, and you can position the camera on a tripod if you want it to stand still. So this has to do with photography. All right. So this way we've introduced some more hobbies with related vocabulary. And I'd like us to move on to reading short texts. Our ability to read and understand the text is also essential. So we're practicing bits of skills in every lesson. We're focusing on reading now. I'm going to ask you to read these short texts. They are all about hobbies, but they tell us information about hobbies across different cultures, and that's the fun part. With each of these texts, we're going to use one of these headings as a sort of title to each one. Sandra, will you please read the first text and then tell me which of these I should write there as a title?
Yes. Origami, the art of paper folding, has been a cherished hobby in Japan for centuries. With precise folds and creative techniques, people transform plain sheets of paper into intricate sculptures of animals, flowers, and more. Origami symbolizes patience, focus, and the appreciation of simplicity. So the title here, it's Japanese origami.
Good. Have you ever tried origami?
Yes, I did.
And do you enjoy this as a hobby?
Yes, but I've only tried simple shapes.
Patterns, right. Okay, good. It's your turn, Rebecca. This is your short text, and what you have here is the remaining headings we can use. Go ahead.
In India, Rangoli is a vibrant and decorative art form. Using colored powders, rice, or flower petals, people create intricate patterns on the ground, often at doorsteps or public spaces. Rangoli is a way to welcome guests and add a touch of beauty to daily life. I would say the appropriate title would be Indian Rangoli art.
Of course. Indian Rangoli art. So we've learned something about what people do in Japan, what people do in India. I'm wondering what's in store for us. And Sandra, it's your turn to read.
Tango is a passionate dance that originated in Argentina. It's more than just a dance, it's a cultural expression that reflects the country's history and emotions. People gather in dance halls to embrace the art of tango, forming connections through movement and music. And the title here is Argentinian Tango.
Tango, yeah. All right. Back to you, Rebecca, for one more text.
Sure. In Morocco, the tea ceremony is an important cultural tradition. Preparing and serving mint tea is considered an art form. The process involves pouring the tea from a height to create a frothy top. This ritual fosters connection, hospitality, and the sharing of stories. I would say the appropriate title is Moroccan tea ceremony.
Right. It's something that people do in Morocco. So Moroccan tea ceremony. And there's one more for you, Sandra.
Fika, a Swedish custom, involves taking a break with friends or colleagues to enjoy coffee or tea and a sweet treat. It's a cherished practice that encourages relaxation, socializing, and a pause from busy routines. Fika embodies the Swedish value of work-life balance. so Swedish fika.
So we found out about hobbies around the world and what people enjoy doing in their free time. Which of these sounds more interesting for you?
I think the Moroccan tea ceremony. I'd like to taste their tea.
Yeah, why not? Okay. How about you, Rebecca? Which would be your choice?
I would choose Swedish fika as I love drinking coffee. And I also enjoy spending time with my friends, so it would be a great opportunity for us to stay together and enjoy a treat and the coffee.
Yeah, it could be something to enjoy. At the end of the previous class, I asked you to ask somebody in your family or maybe a friend those questions about hobbies so that you can write a short text. Sandra, will you start?
Okay, my brother's favorite hobby is basketball. Twice a week he goes to practice with his team. When I asked him what he enjoys the most about his hobby, he said that he can exercise while having fun with his friends. That's what he likes most. And he usually enjoys playing it outdoors.
What about you, Rebecca?
Well, my friend's favorite spare time activity is definitely something that brings her both relaxation and excitement, which is playing volleyball. She discovered her passion for it a few years ago, and since then she's been enjoying it every weekend. Although she likes it a lot, she's also always willing to try new things, such as cooking or playing the guitar.
Oh my God, that's so important, being open to new experiences. That helps us better when it comes to self-development. All right. Thank you so much for reading out these for us. All right, so we read these short texts about Argentinian tango. We also found out about Swedish fika, the Japanese origami art. But did we learn anything about Mexican Day of the Dead? Altars, of the dead altars? No, then we're about to find out. Will you please read it, Sandra?
In Mexico, the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, is a cultural celebration that involves creating elaborate altars to honor deceased loved ones. Families decorate altars with candles, marigolds, photos, and favorite food of the departed, creating a vibrant and meaningful tradition.
Thank you. All right, so we've also learned now about the Mexican Day of the Dead Altars. Great. Finding out about other cultures is important to me. How about you? Yes, why is it important for you?
Because we can get access to nation's heritage, culture, and we can also interchange our perspectives, and it really brings us together as fellow nations.
Excellent point you've made there. Right. So on the one hand, we gain access to a different culture, which will enrich our own perception of life. It could even help us shape a new mentality. So yeah, that's very good. Is there anything else you could add, Sandra?
Well, since it's so easy to communicate with people from other countries and make new friends, maybe it's a way to cherish our friendship by learning each other's traditions. And maybe it's an activity that we can do together.
Excellent. It brings people together on the one hand, but we get to learn something about ourselves as well. It helps us put things into perspective, just as you said. We reconsider our own values, so that's bound to enrich us. And that's why I'm going to ask you to find out information about hobbies in different cultures. We've mentioned some cultures now, but there's something new in every culture. And I think this is worth exploring, and it makes a very good piece of homework to do. Again, just a short text would do. So finding out about different cultures is always something that will teach us new lessons. And with this, we're finishing another lesson. Thank you so much, Sandra and Rebecca, for joining me today. Hope you'll have a good evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
As for everyone out there, this is the end of another lesson, but it's the beginning of your research. I hope you feel motivated enough to find out about other cultures while finding out about hobbies too. I am looking forward to finding out about what my students have prepared next week. So we'll be here next Monday too. Bye.